So my name is Debbie, and today we're going local. We're going local because festivities is coming, and Christmas, you have New Year coming up, and a lot of people are looking forward to preparing new amazing recipes. Now today I'm going to be teaching you how to make steamed rice and stew. Guys, making the perfect stew has to start with the right concentration of your vegetables. Now with me here I have my scotch bonnet, and that's what you call the atarodo. I have my bell pepper, and that's what you call the tatashe, and the capsicum, that's what you call the shombo, and then I have my tomatoes. Now I know a lot of you guys are a lot of people make stew, and you find that you have to reduce the stew for hours. Personally, before we found the perfect recipe, I sometimes would have to reduce my stew for 3 hours, just to get the water content dried up and all of that. But this recipe is going to cut down your cooking time by more than half. Now let's get cooking. So this pepper, this stew we're preparing has to start with the right ratio of all your vegetables. We have about 4 different varieties of vegetables here. Obviously, pepper is a vegetable, yeah. So that's why you need to come to Abuja Culinary School to come and learn the science behind everything that you're doing. All right, so that's that. So we start with our capsicum. Now, what you want to do is to make sure. Obviously, you can see that I already removed the seeds. The seeds are such a distraction. You don't want that seed there because it just kind of had this pungent taste, to what you're cooking. So please remove the seeds before you use your capsicum. All right, so the first thing is you want to make sure that the ratio of your capsicum to your bell pepper is the same. All right, so I have 1 plate full of my capsicum here, and then I'll add it to my bowl here. So that's one. And then I will take this bell pepper, my bell pepper, and add the same ratio to my bowl. And I'll tell you why while we're doing that. So this is roughly about the same as my capsicum. And then I'll add my scotch bonnet. Well, I actually can do without the scotch bonnet, but some people prefer to have that little tanginess in their stew, so I will add a little bit of my scotch bonnet. Now this scotch bonnet is really just to give it that kick, to give my stew that kick it needs. All right, so now we go to the important part, the tomato. Now what you want to do is to make sure that the ratio of your capsicum and the scotch bonnet and the bell pepper is not the same as your tomatoes. So let's see. We already have a bowl full of all the other vegetables. So what I will do here now is to add half of it to my stew. So this gives you about 2 parts of capsicum and bell pepper to 1 part of your tomatoes. All right, so we just add it. That means 2 to 1, right? So we'll just add some of these tomatoes to our vegetables. All right, so I'm usually very generous with my onions. Onions is very, very important in any stew that you're making. So I'll just add some of these onions. And you can see that just by reducing the content of my tomatoes, I already reduced the water content in the overall stew. So, and we'll see that. So I will leave one of this for when I am sauteing the stew itself. All right, so we have our stew ready to be blended. All right, let's take it to the blender. Okay, so guys, can you see what we're talking about? Just look at the color of our stew, and it's already on the fire. We're trying to reduce it, and we're already timed our resumption. We're going to time it, and we're going to see how far how long it takes to actually reduce. I'm expecting that this stew should reduce, in the next 1 hour. Unlike if it is your other stew, with a lot of tomatoes and all of that, it would take up to 3 hours. But this particular one is going to take just 1 hour to reduce. So on my own time here, it's just about 12, just about 12:39, and we'll see how far that goes. All right, so we'll move to our next menu on the line, which is our rice, our steamed rice. Next on our menu is our steamed rice. Right, so I'll soak my rice for 25 minutes in water. Why am I soaking my rice for 25 minutes? I'm soaking my rice for 25 minutes because I want the rice to absorb the water. When the rice absorbs, I don't want the vitamins in my rice to get lost in the water. So rather than constantly washing and then adding a lot of water like you do in boiling, what we do is that for steaming, we just allow the rice to soak up the water, and then we use very, very little water. The steam from the soaked water is what eventually cooks the rice, okay? And that gives you it's richer. I believe it's actually healthier and more nutritious. All right, so we'll keep this aside and then we'll move to our pepper chicken, my favorite part. So I'll add my hot oil on the fire, and then I move to marinating my chicken. Okay guys, so we're here to marinate our chicken now. Now you can see that the type of chicken I have here is a soft chicken. So I'll just go straight up to, let's marinate it and see how that goes. Now, one of the most important ingredients for your chicken marinade is actually your black pepper. I don't know, there's just something that black pepper does to chicken that I'm still trying to find the words for it, but it's actually really, really good. So, and then I add my seasoning. I said this is local kitchen today, so I'm allowed to add my seasoning. I don't think Chef Star would agree. So next up is our salt. I like to be generous with salt for my chicken because it just helps the other seasoning to enter into the chicken well. And then I will add my garlic paste and ginger. And then I'll use my hands to marinate them. Make sure your hands are washed, obviously, to avoid getting pathogens in your food. So I'll just marinate it. Now, ideally you're supposed to leave this for 1 hour so that you allow your marinade to enter the chicken well. But sometimes we're busy people and all of that, so you can just go ahead and fry it and it's still fine. All right, so our seasoning and all the other things we added as marinated well with the chicken. I know a lot of you use your ginger and garlic paste in your meat, in your chicken, but I just want to tell you that, well, the reason why this is very, very essential in a professional kitchen is because the ginger helps to open the cells of your meat, and when the cells are open, it allows your other ingredients, other seasoning, to enter the chicken well. So here is why for those who are asking, why do we always have to use ginger and garlic? So that's your why. All right, so we move on to what we have next. Wow guys, so look at our stew, our pepper mix. Sorry, it's not a stew yet. Our pepper mix. This is 25 minutes later, 25 to 30 minutes thereabout later, and you can see the quantity of water has drastically reduced. Now our aim is to reduce this to a complete paste, where we have barely or no little water in the pepper mix. But you can see already this is progress, and I want you to notice the color. Look at how red it is. It's very, very red, and I have not even added any paste, and you can see the consistency. You can see how thick the pepper mix is. So we'll just leave it for a little more time and then we'll see how it goes. Okay guys, so we take our chicken one by one. You want to make sure your oil is not overly hot, you know, so that it does not create too much of a splash, but hot enough to not to stop up the chicken. Okay, so just put it one by one. Now I like to use Devon King's oil. Guys, so remember we're preparing our steamed rice and we have soaked our rice for 25 minutes. Now you can see the cloudiness of the water. I've not washed it, I've not done anything, but obviously the rice has soaked a little bit of water. So what we're doing next is to wash our rice. So we'll just get a sieve and then you wash it. Now I told you that this ensures that soaking your rice first ensures that your vitamins is not lost in the washing process. So we'll just run this through some more water and then we'll take it to the fire. Alright guys, to prepare our steamed rice, we have some spices we are going to be using, and first off is our cardamom pods. Alright, you see here. And then we have our star anise right here. Okay, so we're going to be throwing it into the water. Alright, so first off we have our pot on the fire with our boiling water. Now I want you to take note of the quantity of water. I told you that we're preparing steamed rice, so we don't need too much water because our rice already has some absorbed water already. So I'll just throw in my cardamom pods. I'm throwing in the spices first because I want the hot water to help it to release the flavors. Alright, and then the next thing I'll be doing is to throw in my rice. You can see the level of the water. My rice is almost at the same level with the water. And what I'll do first is I will leave it on high heat and allow it to boil. And when I notice that the water is completely dry, I'll put it on low heat. Alright, so we had a little bit of our salt. Very, very little salt, because we don't want the power of the salt to overshadow the natural taste of the rice. So I'm adding very little salt. And then I'll stir together. Now you can see that star anise is already like, you know, it's... Alright, so we're going to check on our rice now. Remember I said that the water has to be very, very small. So the water has completely reduced. There's still a little bit of water, but at this point you need to reduce the heat from your rice. So I'm going to reduce it and allow the steam from the rice to cook the rice. So I'll reduce it for just about 15 minutes thereabouts, and then we'll see. Alright guys, so we're ready to make our perfect stew. Now first off, as you all know, you start with your oil. You make sure your pot is very dry. My pot right here is dry. And so the second thing I'll do is to add my onion. So I'm going to be sauteing my onion for a little bit. I don't want it too brown and I don't want it undercooked. So while my onion is frying, I'll add my garlic and ginger paste. Now you have to do this in moderation because garlic and ginger can overpower your stew and you don't want that. So I'll just add a little. Right, so what this does is to release the flavor into the oil. So this is sort of like flavoring your oil, you know, before you add your pepper mix. So as you know, we reduced our pepper mix from what you saw earlier into this. All right, so we've been able to reduce the water content in the onion a little bit, and that's why you see a little bit of this browning Now the next stage is to add our pepper mix. I want you to know that the concentration of this pepper mix is very, very high. So add it. I'll add a little bit more because I'm making a stick for about 5 people. Now that my pepper mix is already in the oil, the next thing I'll add is my black pepper. I'll just sprinkle a little bit of my black pepper. Why am I adding black pepper? I'm adding my black pepper because black pepper is going to give it this kick that I'm looking for. Now, black pepper can be very, very hot, so you'll be very careful the amount. And you can choose not to add it actually, but if you want that kick in your stew and that aroma, I think you should add it. So we just give it a good stir. We cover it for a bit. Then I add my 1 bay leaf. Alright, so I have added my bay leaf, to release more flavor into my stew. Just 1 bay leaf because I don't want it bitter. And then I'll add my seasoning. I'll add my seasoning and my salt. Now this stew is about 95% ready. I'll give it a good stir. I'll stir it. Now you can see how well the stew has fried. Alright, so we have our already fried stew. Now how do you know a stew is well fried? This is what you do to be sure that the water content in your stew is completely gone. You just take up a little bit, and when you see it cooking, you can see the bubble on my spoon, the same as when it is in the pot. That's how you know that your stew has fried completely. Now the next thing is to add your chicken. Add your chicken. Now when you add your chicken, you give it a good stir. And for the important part, you add some more water. You add water. Don't be afraid at all. Adding this water is not going to make your stew watery, not at all. Rather, you're giving it room to have volume. For me, I'll add a little bit more water and then cover it to boil. I'll stir it a bit together and then I'll allow it to boil. So we add our ambassador butter to our steamed rice that's been on low heat for some time. We'll add a little bit of it, and then we take our broth and use it to take it off. You can see the fluffiness of the rice. It is dry, it is fluffy, and it is delicious. You can see that it's so hot, and that's why the butter is melting in the rice. Wow, beautiful. And then we pair our rice with our stew. At this point, you can turn it off so that it will not get burnt. What the butter does is to make it moist. It makes the rice very moist and delicious. Alright guys, our stew is ready. I want you to notice the consistency. Can you see how thick the consistency is and how red it is? We did not add any tomato paste, and everything we used for the ingredient was just natural. Alright, so can you see? I told you I was making a stew for 5 people, and this can conveniently feed up to 8 people, definitely. And I'll be pairing this stew with my fluffy steamed rice. Thank you. Alright, before we plate our rice, we just take out the pot. All this we don't need. Take them out. And we're set. Okay, so we'll just plate our rice. We'll take out some more pods. And then we'll pair with our stew. Now I told you that the concentration of this stew. Alright, so and there you have it. Our steamed rice and perfect stew.